Welcome to Weekly Digest, where we highlight the work of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. Picking up from where we left off last week, government is calling on more business people to invest in the economy to boost development. Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, the Honourable Susan Rodriguez, and Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, the Honourable Gov't Indar, made this call last weekend at the opening of the Caribbean Motor Spears second branch at Grove East Bank, Demerara.
Our government has always been friendly to the private sector, has always encouraged private investment and business people, because we understand that government alone cannot deliver on our mandate.
Minister Rodriguez said business-friendly policies will be implemented and incentives granted to the sector. Minister Indar echoed similar sentiments while noting that the private sector is a partner to the PPP government.
This is the private sector that creates jobs. They create wealth in the economy. They breathe life into the economy. Money spends faster when private sector spends it. It means the velocity of money moves faster.
The Ministry of Agriculture has established a 24-hour task force to monitor flooding countrywide. Minister, the Honourable Zulfikar Mustafa, on Monday said the technical team is assessing where assistance is needed and various ways to mitigate flood impact.
Our drainage system is capable of draining between 1.5 inches to 2 inches of water in a 24-hour period. We have seen excessive rainfall. As a result of that, we have seen high water in various parts of the country. All our systems are in place, that where we have sluices and pumps, they are operable. We have a task force working around the clock, a 24-hour, around the country to see where, what system we can put in place to alleviate these problems.
The ministry is also prepared to provide aid in the form of planting materials, chemicals and fertilizers, as well as extension services to cash crop and livestock farmers affected by the high tides. Prime Minister, the Honourable Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, and Minister of Agriculture, the Honourable Zulfikar Mustafa, on Tuesday led a team on a visit to the Essequibo coast, primarily to assess the flooding situation which affected residents.
We basically came here, walk around the area, get a first-hand view as to the flooding in that area, and there's a lot needs to be done in terms of not only clearing the outfalls and the cocos and whatever and pumping the water, but also there's a lot of garbage built up over the years that is blocking the outfalls of those areas.
Minister Mustafa instructed NARI, the GRDB and the GLDA to do an assessment of the losses suffered by the farmers.
They expected it by the weekend. All 4 pumps would have been operable, and then we'll have more pumps, these hydrophobe pumps, available to take it to those areas that are affected there. Also, we have instructed NDIA to monitor the system around the clock. They are also setting up some small task force in the various communities where the community will help to monitor these officers who are working, these operators who are working the sluices and the pumps.
During an interview with DPI on Tuesday, Minister of Public Service, the Honourable Sonia Parag, said the $25,000 one-off cash grant is an excellent initiative by President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali.
The government and the PPP administration has recognized that all Guyanese are affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, all Guyanese are in need of relief. And this is truly a demonstration of the government's commitment to taking care of the well-being of its people.
Further, Minister Parag said the cash grant is the beginning of greater things to come in 2021 and during the government's first 5 years in office. On Wednesday, Minister of Agriculture, the Honourable Zulfikar Mustafa, the ministry's Director General, Mr. Madan Lal Ramraj, and several agency heads visited the villages of Hope and Unity, East Coast Demerara, to assess the situation and provide solutions to residents affected by overtopping.
We are trying to stretch our resources that we have. We'll send the machine, we'll clean the canal, and as you rightly said, it has to be maintained.
The minister said the machines must not leave the district until works are completed. A telephone number was provided for residents to make reports if the works are not conducted efficiently.
We'll do that, and hopefully when the budget comes out later on this month or early next month, we can engage the community as a group, a community group, to clean and maintain these canals.
Minister Mustafa said an assessment would be done, and based on that, the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute will provide aid to farmers who suffered losses. Also on Wednesday, Guyana Logistics and Support Services Incorporated donated $10 million worth of personal protective equipment to the Ministry of Health to aid the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The items consisted of overalls and hazmat suits. Minister of Health, the Honourable Dr. Frank Anthony, expressed gratitude to the company for its timely donation.
I recall many months ago we started talking about this, and I'm very happy that it came to fruition. This morning, I think the donation consists primarily of overalls, and while we have received a lot of donations in the past, I think other persons had focused on things like masks and so forth, which are all very vital. But we've had very few donations relating to coveralls and overalls. And we are very grateful for this.
Minister Anthony said the gear will be utilized by frontline health workers. Moving on to Thursday, Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, the Honourable Nigel Darmlal, in an interview with DPI, said the government has introduced stricter measures for the implementation of economic projects across the administrative regions. These measures will also address public procurement procedures, which were flagged in the Auditor General's 2019 report.
Moving forward, we're in a much better place. We have monitoring systems in place. Every region now, we have a dashboard that is basically monitoring project implementation on the advice of His Excellency and with his technical, and when I say advice of His Excellency, technical advice of His Excellency. As you're aware, the President himself is also a trained project manager.
With the systems now in place, Minister Darmlal said there will be an improvement in the process.
Project implementation will also take account of procurement. It will take account of accountability. It will take account of transparency. It will take account of expanding the wealth of government as it reaches across the communities, to the extent that we intend to have many more people involved in the contracting process, so that will also engender greater employment, whether directly or indirectly.
The National COVID-19 Task Force will be increasing its enforcement of the gazetted precautionary measures as the government continues to ramp up efforts to curb the transmission of the disease. Minister of Health, the Honourable Dr. Frank Anthony, had said preparations have been made to deal with an expected increase in positive cases as many persons flouted the guidelines over the holidays. However, the task force, through Operation COVID Curb, will be taking steps to ensure that the population remains vigilant.
I really hope that we can have the cooperation and collaboration of everyone so that these measures can be more effectively employed. And once we have them in place and they're working, we would see a reduction in the amount of cases that we're having. I'm sure the joint services would be talking more about this, but really is to up the level of what they have been doing, going out, doing more frequent visits, and reaching out to those places that have been breaching, the protocols and so forth.
Dr. Anthony acknowledged that while it can be fatiguing to continue to observe the safety guidelines, it is necessary to save lives. He noted that the pandemic is still ongoing and the public must adjust their mindsets to living in a new COVID environment. Guyanese can expect major investments in the housing sector this year. This was disclosed by Minister of Housing and Water, the Honourable Colin Crowell, during an interview on Thursday.
This year, in our sector alone, we're talking about investments about probably $15 billion alone in new housing areas. And that is only the start of our allocation exercise.
This investment also includes ongoing works and will feature land preparation in a number of areas. Minister Crowell said plans are in the pipeline to boost the sector over the next 5 years, including a new remigrant plan and housing development for the members of the Disciplined Services and Public Service. Minister Crowell also reminded Guyanese that the PPP government is committed to the provision of jobs through the expansion of the sector. Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, the Honourable Nigel Darmlal, has said residents of Georgetown will start receiving their COVID-19 relief cash grant before month end. The minister said the distribution team is making its rounds in keeping with the guidelines to ensure every household benefits from this initiative.
The team on the East Bank, as of this morning, I think they will be in Grove area. So they have worked from the highway coming down, and they are in Grove right now. The team on the East Coast are up to yesterday afternoon. I'm aware that they had already been in Melanie. So they're working towards coming to Strathspey, going into Vigilance, Buxton, Annandale. Those areas are slated for today as well. So very soon the teams are going to get closer to Georgetown, and I would think maybe before the end of the month, Georgetown will begin.
In September 2020, President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali announced the cash grant among other measures to help cushion the effects of COVID on households. It also seeks to stimulate the economy by increasing people's spending power. The government intends to disburse some $3.4 billion to 136,000 households in Region 4. The procurement, construction and operation of the overpasses and lifts along the East Bank Demerara corridor will be subject to review by the Office of the Auditor General. Minister of Public Works, the Honourable Bishop Juan Edgil, made this announcement on Friday during an inspection at Peters Hall.
10 elevators were bought for these 5 overpasses. And none of the elevators on these overpasses are functioning. As a matter of fact, the technical people have advised me, since installation, they have not really worked.
Over at the new asphalt plant, the minister said the facility has not produced any asphalt since installation in 2019.
What I need is the technical people to come and do an inspection, and I'm arranging for that, for them to be able to tell me exactly what needs to be done, because it is taxpayers' money that was spent to purchase this. The Auditor General will tell us if it was the best deal, but the fact that it is here, we need to get it functioning.
Concerning the probe into the old asphalt plant, the minister said the board of directors has met and deliberated on the report. One of the decisions is for the Human Resources Subcommittee of the board to meet with staff found culpable of engaging in illicit activities at the plant. Appropriate action will be taken after that process. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, the Honourable gov't Indar, on Saturday paid a visit to residents of Luston Rust on the west bank of Demerara. There, the minister pledged to ensure the community is provided with electricity for the first time.
The next 2 weeks, we're going to power the area with electricity, so that at least they can have lighting in the area as well, and the houses already have the meter already installed. It's just that the lines are not powered.
Minister Indar's visit follows complaints from residents. House lots were first distributed in Luston Rust in 2014, but little to no development was done during the APNU AFC term in office. The minister said it is extremely important for the community to get electricity, particularly since many children of the community are engaged in online learning. That's it for this edition of Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related information, do log on to our website, dpi.gov.gy, and our social media platforms as well. Goodbye.